I shouldn't have spoken. Out of everything I could have said, that one word was the only thing in the universe I wasn't supposed to say, and the moment it left my mouth, the entire throne room went silent. Not the normal kind of silence, the kind that lingers politely. No, this was the kind of silence that felt like reality itself had stopped breathing, and at the center of it all she froze. I didn't belong there. Every instinct in my body had been screaming that from the moment they dragged me through those towering obsidian gates. The air itself felt different on this world, thicker, heavier, like it carried memory. Like it remembered every scream, every war, every death that had ever happened under its violet sky. They called this place Velcaris. I called it a mistake. 2 hours earlier, I had been nothing more than a salvage pilot drifting through a dead sector, chasing rumors of abandoned tech. One wrong jump, one unstable coordinate, and my ship had torn through something it shouldn't have. A rift. When I came out the other side, my systems were fried, my navigation gone, and a fleet of black, blade-shaped ships had already locked onto me. I didn't even have time to run. Now I was kneeling on a cold, metallic floor that hummed faintly beneath my palms, surrounded by beings that looked like nightmares given form. Tall, elegant, inhuman. Their skin shimmered like liquid metal under dim light, their eyes glowing faintly with colors I didn't have names for. Every movement they made was too precise, too controlled, like predators that didn't need to rush. And all of them were afraid, not of me, of her. I didn't need anyone to tell me who she was. She sat at the far end of the chamber, elevated above everyone else, her presence dominating the room without effort. The throne itself looked grown, not built, black crystalline structures curling upward like frozen flames, and she sat within it as if the entire structure had formed just to hold her. The alien queen. No, that word felt too small. She wasn't just a ruler, she was something absolute. Her skin was pale, almost luminous, with faint lines of silver running beneath the surface like veins of light. Her eyes, God, her eyes, they weren't just glowing, they were deep, layered, like staring into a star collapsing in slow motion. And her expression, unreadable, calm, cold, perfectly still, until she looked at me. That's when something changed. It was subtle, almost nothing, but I saw it, a flicker like recognition. Human, one of the guards said, its voice echoing strangely, as if it vibrated in multiple frequencies at once. You trespass through a sealed corridor of space. You stand before the sovereign of Velcaris. You will speak only when commanded. I swallowed my throat dry. I wasn't stupid. I knew how this ended. Execution, dissection, maybe something worse. But then she raised her hand, and the entire room obeyed. No one spoke. No one moved. Even the air seemed to tighten. Her gaze never left mine. Come closer, she said. Her voice, it didn't sound loud, but it reached everywhere, inside my chest, inside my head. I hesitated for half a second, just enough for a guard to shift behind me, but then I forced myself to stand. Step by step, I walked forward. Each movement felt heavier than the last, like gravity itself was increasing the closer I got to her. By the time I reached the base of her throne, my legs felt like they might give out, but I didn't kneel. I don't know why. Maybe it was fear, maybe it was pride, or maybe something in her expression told me not to. She studied me not like a curiosity, not like prey, like a question. You are not from this continuum, she said. I blinked. I don't even know where I am. Her head tilted slightly, as if that answer interested her. Your arrival was not authorized. I figured that part out. A ripple moved through the guards, subtle but tense. I realized too late that I might have just insulted the most dangerous being in the galaxy, but she didn't react. If anything, the flicker returned. Your vessel, she continued, passed through a fracture that has not opened in centuries. That alone should have destroyed you. Yeah, I said, trying to keep my voice steady. I've been having a pretty bad day. Silent. Then, something impossible happened. Her lips moved, not a smile but close. The guard stiffened. I felt it. The shift, something about me was wrong or different or both. They didn't kill me. That was the first sign that nothing about this situation was normal. Instead, they kept me. Not in a cell, not exactly. I was given a chamber. Guarded, yes. Sealed, definitely, but not a prison in the way I expected. No chains. No interrogation, just waiting. Hours passed, maybe more. Time felt strange here, and then she came. No announcement, no warning. One moment I was alone, staring at the strange, shifting patterns in the walls, and the next she was standing there. Close, too close. I hadn't even heard the door. My heart slammed against my ribs. I didn't hear you come in, I said. You wouldn't, she replied. Of course, I took a slow breath. So, am I being studied or? What? Her gaze sharpened slightly. Neither. Then why am I still alive? She didn't answer immediately. Instead, she stepped closer. Close enough that I could see the faint glow beneath her skin pulsing, slow and steady. Because, she said softly, you are not supposed to exist. That wasn't exactly comforting. I get that a lot, I muttered, again that almost smile, but it faded quickly. You crossed a boundary that cannot be crossed, she continued. And yet you remain intact, unchanged, unbroken. Lucky me. No, she said, her eyes locked onto mine. Not luck. Something about the way she said it made my chest tighten. Then what? She studied me for a long moment. And then, say something, she said. I blinked. What? Anything. That's weirdly vague. Speak. There was no room to argue, so I did the first thing that came to mind. I don't understand what you want from me. What? The moment the words left my mouth, she stilled, not physically, something deeper, like every layer of her being had locked into place. Her eyes widened just slightly, and the glow beneath her skin flickered. The air in the room dropped, sharp. Cold. Wrong. What did you say? She whispered. I frowned. I said I don't. No, her voice cut through mine, sudden and intense. The word. I hesitated, then repeated, slower this time. Understand. That was the moment everything broke. She froze completely, like time had wrapped around her and refused to move forward. The faint light in her eyes dimmed, then flared violently. The walls pulsed. Somewhere outside, alarms began to scream. And then, leave. What? Her voice wasn't loud, but it carried something else now, something dangerous. Every guard outside moved instantly. I could hear them, feel them rushing away. Within seconds, we were alone, just me. And her, still frozen. Still staring at me like I had just shattered the universe. I did something wrong, did I? I said quietly. No response. I took a cautious step forward. Hey. Her head snapped toward me. The movement was so fast it made my vision blur. Do not move, she said. I stopped immediately. Her breathing had changed, shallow, controlled, like she was holding something back. What are you? She whispered. That caught me off guard. I'm human. No, she said, her voice tightening. That is not what I meant. Her gaze dropped slightly to my chest, to my heart, and for the first time I felt afraid of her in a different way, not as a ruler, not as a threat, but as something that could see straight through me. You said a forbidden word, she continued. I said understand. Her eyes closed briefly. Yes. Okay, I'm definitely missing something here. She opened her eyes again. And this time there was no coldness, no distance, just something raw. You spoke in the old tongue. I blinked. The what? A language that has not existed for over 10,000 cycles. That's not possible. What? And yet, she said softly, you spoke it perfectly. The room felt smaller, heavier. Look, I said, running a hand through my hair. I don't know anything about any old language. I just said a word. What? Her gaze hardened again, but not at me, at the situation, at something bigger. That word, she said slowly, means more than you realize. Then explain it to me. Silence. For a long moment, she just looked at me. Like she was deciding something irreversible. You didn't just say understand, she finally said. You said Velkara. The word hit differently, heavier, like it carried weight I couldn't feel before, and that means. What? Her voice dropped to a whisper. It means to see the truth of another soul. I felt a chill run down my spine. That's a lot for one word. It is not just a word, she said. It is a bond. Everything changed after that. She didn't send me away, she didn't imprison me. Instead, she stayed. We talked, not like ruler and prisoner, not even like enemies, just two beings trying to make sense of something neither of us understood. She told me about her world, about Velkaris, about the fractures in space, ancient wounds left behind by a war so old even their records were incomplete. About the old tongue, a language tied to something deeper than communication, something alive, and slowly, piece by piece, I began to understand. The word I had spoken wasn't just rare, it was impossible. Only one being in their entire history had ever used it naturally, only one being had ever been able to form that bond. The first sovereign, she said quietly, the one who created our empire. What? I leaned back, trying to process that. And you think I'm connected to that? I don't think, she replied, I know. That didn't make me feel better, and what does that mean for me? Her eyes softened slightly. It means you are the only being in existence who can stand before me and not be destroyed. I stared at her. Is that supposed to be comforting? For me, she said, that almost made me laugh, almost. The days that followed felt unreal. She visited often, too often according to the guards, though none of them dared say it out loud, and every time she did, the distance between us shrank, not physically, something else. We spoke about everything. Earth, my life, her rule, the weight she carried, and sometimes we didn't speak at all, just sat in silence. Watching each other, it should have felt wrong, it didn't, it felt inevitable, until the truth came out. She wasn't just a queen. She was the empress, the last of her kind, the center of everything, and the moment the High Council found out about me, everything changed. They will demand your execution, she said. We were alone again, but this time the tension was different. Sharper. On what grounds? I asked. On the grounds that you exist. Harsh, they will see you as a threat. And you. Her gaze didn't waver. I see you as something else. My chest tightened. That's not going to help me much if they decide to kill me. No, she said quietly, it won't. Silence heavy, unavoidable. What are you going to do? I asked. She didn't answer immediately. Instead, she stepped closer. Close enough that I could feel the faint warmth of her skin, something I have never done before. And that is. Her hand lifted, hesitated for just a fraction of a second, then rested lightly against my chest. Over my heart, I will choose. What? The council chamber was worse than the throne room. Colder, sharper, more dangerous. They stood in a circle, their forms towering, their eyes burning with controlled fury, and at the center. Me and her. You have broken protocol, one of them said, its voice echoing like fractured glass. You have concealed a foreign entity, you have allowed it to live. She didn't move, didn't flinch. Yes. The word was calm, certain. And now, another voice cut in, you will correct that mistake. Silence, then. No. The entire chamber shifted, the air itself seemed to recoil. You defy us. I do. Their energy spiked, dangerous, volatile. This being is an anomaly. A risk, a potential weapon. He is none of those things, she said. You cannot know that. I can. How? The question hung in the air, heavy, demanding, and then. She looked at me, really looked, and I felt it, that connection, that impossible bond. Because, she said softly, he sees me. The chamber erupted, voices overlapping, power surging. And then, she moved, not fast, not violently, but with absolute authority. The energy in the room collapsed instantly, every voice cut off. Every presence stilled. Enough. The word carried weight, finality. I have ruled for longer than any of you have existed, she continued. I have held this empire together through war, through collapse, through extinction. Her gaze swept across them. And I will not destroy the one being who reminds me what it means to feel. Silence, deep, unbreakable. This is my choice, she said, and I will bear its consequences. We left that chamber together, not as ruler and subject. Not as captor and prisoner, but as something else, something undefined, something dangerous. What happens now? I asked quietly. She didn't look at me immediately. Instead, she looked out across her world, the endless alien skyline stretching beneath a dark, glowing sky. They will never accept you, she said. I figured. And they will never forgive me. I swallowed, then why do it? She turned to me, and for the first time since I met her. She smiled, not faint, not restrained, real. Because, she said softly, you spoke one word, and for the first time in 10,000 years. Her hand found mine, warm, steady. I was not alone. The world didn't end that day, the empire didn't collapse, but something shifted. Something quiet, something powerful, and as I stood there beside her, looking out at a future that didn't make sense, that shouldn't have been possible, I realized something. I hadn't just said the wrong word, I had said the only word that mattered.